Hey, welcome to this mixture of like an art haul meets gift guide where I essentially share some of my favorite more novel art supplies that you can either gift to a loved one who loves watercolor, gift to yourself, or maybe just add to your wish list if people are asking you what you would like. I will be sure to leave everything linked down below in the description, as well as linking some time-sensitive discount codes that you can use. And be sure to check out the comments for other ideas because the real MVPs will be leaving their suggestions down below in the comments. But let's start with some of my favorite supplies, and that is obviously paints. If you're looking for something that is very special, a little bit different, I have the perfect supplies for you. The first of those being the Kuretake watercolor sets, and they are just really beautiful Japanese watercolors that come in stunning packaging, have unique colors, behave differently to other watercolors that are more common, and all round are just absolutely wonderful to use and just make a really nice special gift. These come in a range of different sets. You can get them for anything ranging from like £15–20 all the way up to over £100 if you buy the set that has all 100 colors. But essentially there is a set that can match your budget. They're just beautiful watercolors that hold a very dear space in my heart because it was a gift that my mum gave to me. Then next we have the Etchr golden watercolors, and I absolutely love these watercolors. They come in like this really cute Tiffany blue metal tin. They just have a range of beautiful golds and bronzes, and honestly if you look back on my channel you can see that I didn't really use golds or metallic watercolors that much, and you can see that from the moment that I swatched them in the Etchr video, which I will leave linked for you, from that moment moving forward my art completely changed because I just really enjoyed adding little accents of gold to my art. So again, this is something for the watercolor artist that already has what it feels like everything, because these are more special watercolors. Next is watercolors as a whole. These are professional watercolors that are absolutely wonderful. I will leave a list of reliable brands down below in the description in case you're not sure where to start off with. I personally love Szmal watercolors, I love Daniel Smith watercolors, I love Sennelier Watercolours. All these brands and more, I'll leave them linked down below. But the reason that I want to highlight a few special ones is just because certain brands have more special characteristics than others. So for example, I find that Szmal has beautiful granulating colors, really good quality, a really good range of sets that have a varying price range. So you can get anything from there's like the urban sketching kit, which I have got 2 of because I absolutely love the colors inside and I love the tins. But they also have like bigger ones that have been curated by artists, and that takes the pressure off you of trying to figure out what colors you want. I do feel like it's so inspiring to look at the palettes that have been created and selected by artists. You can go for like travel sets because they tend to have less number of paints, but they're still really good quality. And these paints, hands down, any day will beat the kind of Amazon recommended sets that have like 48–56 colors that end up being chalky. So as hard as it is, because more times than not these kind of cheaper brands come in beautiful tins, as hard as it is to resist, I would recommend that you resist those brands and that you look at the list in the description and go for any of those brands instead. And I've made a whole separate video highlighting the different travel watercolor palettes that are out there, why I love them, the pros and the cons, and I'll leave that linked for you. Another one that I absolutely love, technically it is like a standard watercolor, and these are the Qor watercolors. However, they just behave completely differently to other watercolors because they just run across the page. They very much have a personality of their own, just completely stand out. And that is one of the reasons that I love bringing them out, especially if I want like the watercolor to just do its thing on the page, or if I'm doing like abstract art or anything like that. They are just absolutely wonderful for that. And I do tend to really like bright colors as you can probably tell from my art, so they are a go-to. If you were to look for one set that just has everything inside it apart from the paper, then that Sennelier set would be one of them, and it is one that I am working up the courage to actually use because it is just so precious to me. Now if you're looking for granulating watercolors, and those are watercolors that perhaps have lots of different colors that separate out, they are beautiful for someone who loves doing like landscape or even abstract art. They just have a really nice unique feel. So if you find that that's the art that you're creating or your loved one is creating, then granulating paint may be for you. And a few brands that come to mind are Szmal, love them. Daniel Smith and Schminke, and Schminke have their own super granulating range. So again, if that's what you're into, then those three brands are a really good place to start. If you are buying gifts, I recommend buying sets because that just makes your life easier. However, if you wanted to buy individual paints and like make it more custom, then you definitely can, and I've created a whole separate video where I highlight the top 30 favorite Roman Szmal watercolors. If you want to see my entire watercolor collection, then I will link that video for you, where I just highlight over 20 watercolor brands that I have. Have a look and see if there are special watercolors that you want to pick. But you can also consider joining things like Patreons and Ko-fi. There is just something so nice about creating art as part of a community, and although we have a wonderful community on YouTube, I tell you now, it is even better on Ko-fi or Patreons because you get to engage with other artists even more so than you would in just the comments. I have a Ko-fi myself, and on there I share art challenges, exclusive videos, I chat to members on my Discord, and so much more, and it's just been an absolutely wonderful place to create, and it has changed my art practice for the better. I absolutely love the community that we have on YouTube, but I tell you now, it is even better on Ko-fi. So I'll leave my Ko-fi link down below in the description in case you are interested, but I do have even more gift ideas for you. Another thing to consider is buying custom paints from artisans, such as this beautiful set, which is by KHannah Hues, and she's also doing advent calendars. Honestly, it is a wonderful way to not only support a small business, but to have access to just absolutely stunning, completely unique watercolors. And there's just something so special about knowing that each order is handmade specifically for yourself or for your loved ones. I will link her down below, KHannah Hues, and be sure to check out her shop. Sketchbook wise, I love sketchbooks. I absolutely love sketchbooks, and I've recently made a video where I highlight all the sketchbooks that I have and try and take a guess at how many you think I have. I promise you that you might double it and still not be close. But essentially, if I were to summarize the ones that I think would make the best gifts, it would be the Etchr Sketchbooks. You can't go wrong with any of them. So you can pick one that just suits your budget and gift that. The everyday sketchbooks have paper that is thick enough for watercolor. They come in hot press, which is nice and smooth, as well as cold press, which has a bit more texture. And they are, as the name implies, the kind of sketchbooks that you can use to paint every day. They have 100% cotton watercolor paper, which means that they're really good quality watercolor paper as well, but they are on the more affordable end of the spectrum when it comes to comparing to the other sketchbooks. Then next, you have the Perfect Sketchbooks by Etchr, and these have 300 GSM paper, so they are slightly thicker, but again 100% cotton watercolor paper. And then la creme de la creme, my absolute favorite sketchbook is the Perfect Sketchbook Signature Series by Etchr, and they have a hot press version as well as a cold press version. They are limited edition, and they are beautiful sketchbooks, and it's so funny because they are truly the perfect sketchbooks for me. So they have 300 GSM watercolor paper, which have deckled edges, have Fabriano Artistico watercolor paper, which also has the watermark on it, so just be mindful of that. They come in a faux leather vegan cover, they're hardback. They are just absolutely wonderful sketchbooks, which are also limited edition. They are on the pricier end when it comes to sketchbooks as a whole, but they are truly wonderful. They are my favorite sketchbook. So if you're looking for like a really special gift, or you're looking for a really special sketchbook, then I highly recommend that one. But ultimately, I think any of the Etchr sketchbooks are really great quality, which will make a really wonderful gift. So you can pick any one of those. If you want something slightly different, one of the sketchbooks that has taken YouTube by storm is the Khadi Fat Book. And essentially the Khadi papers again have cotton watercolor paper, but they have cotton rag watercolor paper. So this paper is softer, it absorbs the paint more, it has imperfections in it because it's handmade, it has deckled edges. The Fat Book in particular is very thin, but it comes with a lot of pages. And I think one of the reasons why that has become so popular is because not only does it feel nice, but it's a nice sketchbook that you can just literally mess around in because you get so many pages for a relatively low price. Super thick, it's soft, it's delicate, but it is a lot of fun. Although it is probably not the kind of sketchbook where one would make like absolutely complete finished pieces, whereas in the Etchr sketchbooks you probably could if you wanted to. With these sketchbooks, it's just a really fun place to play around with a sketchbook that feels nice, that's good quality, and that just has lots of pages. So you make a mistake, you just keep going, you go on to the next page, and that is it. So Khadi sketchbooks are again a really great place to look at. To summarize sketchbooks, I would probably say that the best watercolor sketchbooks that I love are the Etchr ones. If you were to look for perhaps more novel and more affordable sketchbooks that are also 100% cotton, then that would be the Khadi sketchbooks. If you were looking for cellulose paper sketchbooks, so that's sketchbooks that are even cheaper but will still handle watercolor, then the Sea White sketchbooks are really good ones. If you were to be looking for sketchbooks that they can literally just sketch in, so not for painting with watercolor in my opinion, then the Royal Talon sketchbooks are a wonderful choice because they are affordable, but also you get lots of pages and the covers are really pretty, so they do have that gift-like feel about them. Next we have the Caran d'Ache Neocolor IIs, an oldie but a goodie, and I mean, I've loved them for years. They are essentially water-soluble crayons. They come in a range of different sets. You can buy them individually. You can use them in their dry form and have them blend in a lovely way, or have them create like lovely textures. At the same time, you can add water to them and dissolve them into an either gouache-like consistency or watercolor-like consistency. They are bright, they are beautiful, and thus they are absolutely loved. Because they come in a range of different sets, they are suitable for a range of different budgets. So if you just want to buy a few, see if you like them, you can. But alternatively, if you want to buy like a set like this, for example, I started off with the set of 15 and then added a few extra, you can do that. But you can go all the way and get like the full set, which honestly I want so badly. It's honestly on my wish list, and that's just because the colours are beautiful, the sets are beautiful. So as I say, wide range of different sets, but you can't really go wrong with the Neocolor IIs. They are just really a pleasure to work with and a lot of fun to use to complement watercolour art. If you're enjoying this video, then don't forget to hit the like button and to consider subscribing, as it is a free way that makes a very big difference to this channel, and it also really encourages me, so I thank you in advance. But with no further ado, I want to keep sharing the beautiful art supplies with you. Next are palettes. So we've already kind of touched on getting full sets of watercolor palettes to gift, and you can do that. However, if you wanted to get tubes or you wanted to get empty watercolor palettes or other watercolor palettes, these are the ones that I would recommend. First and foremost would be the Meeden ceramic palettes. There is a wide range of them. You can get them from small ones to big ones. Mixing watercolors on ceramic is just a lovely experience that if you know, you know. Like, it's just nice. You get really lovely clean mixes. Meeden also has like a range of different shapes, a range of different sizes, some with lids on them, some without lids on them, and they make wonderful gifts for watercolor lovers. If you are looking for another kind of palette to gift, I have two that come to mind. One is my Stay Wet palette, and this I think works well for those who love to paint with watercolors in its wet state or straight from the tube, and also love painting on the go, or even if they don't love painting on the go, there's just something about having it in that palette in its original consistency that makes it more accessible and more fun to use. I personally love using watercolors in pans, so I tend to store my gouache in there. So if you love painting with gouache or you love painting with watercolors from the tube, then I highly recommend the Stay Wet palette. Like, I have loved that palette from the moment that I saw it on Creating Cute Art's channel, and I'll leave her linked down below as well. But honestly, yes, I love that. If you're looking for something even more special, now probably the most novel of all novel gifts is this. And this is a gift that I got myself, and it is this is the Fraser Price palette box, and it is essentially a brass palette. So the reason that brass palettes are so well loved is because they do not rust. They have wonderful craftsmanship, and they in themselves, I mean, look like the most practical piece of jewelry I have ever seen, but they have the benefit of also being somewhere that you can use to store your watercolors, travel with them, have them in the studio, just have it to look at. Either way, an absolutely beautiful gift, either way, an absolutely stunning palette, and thus a beautiful gift. Ooh, you can see the camera. For those looking for inspiration, I have just the thing, or just the things. So the first one is this. I have waited so long, so long for this, months for this. It's finally here. And these are the color cubes. They are made by Sarah Renee Clark, and they are essentially not only a wonderful source of inspiration if you're looking for color palettes, but also if you're looking for reference photos that you want to paint, because all the references inside here are from royalty-free websites, so the artist or yourself can just use them freely. And they are just such a fun and cute, absolutely amazing novel gift. Like, whoever you gift it to, irrespective of what medium they create with, will absolutely love this, especially if they love color, especially if they love having something tangible to inspire them that is screen free. A few other books that I want to recommend. So if they love florals as much as I do, but even if they don't and they just love color and they're looking for different color palettes and different things to inspire them, and this is a wonderful book to gift them, because not only does it have beautiful compositions of florals, which also inspires different compositions if they want to paint them, but it also has a great assortment of different color palettes that they can use, and just so much more. There's something lovely about just having like the physical item in your hand and that being your source of inspiration, because sometimes we like to have some screen-free time, and I feel like these books are just a wonderful way to do that. So these are definitely like inspiration books, but also they have so much in them that you can also learn from them if that's what you like. And I have just made a Ko-fi video flipping through the book, talking through how I use it, so I'll leave it linked down below in case you're interested. I think you can tell that I'm drawn to colour, but another book that I think is a very good is this one, and this is Colour and Light by James Gurney. He also has a YouTube channel which I will leave linked down below, and essentially this book is a wonderful resource for learning. His art in it is inspirational, but in it it's just jam-packed with so much information and so many different ways of understanding color, so many different ways of understanding light. So it's definitely a book that serves as a form of inspiration, but even more so, I'd probably say like a learning book. So definitely a good one to consider. And another book that I absolutely love is Just Add Watercolor by Helen Burt, and again I'll leave her link down below in the description. And this book just has so many different artists work inside it, and it's a book that highlights different techniques, but as well as doing that, it highlights the art that they have created, and that in itself is just a wonderful source of inspiration, because every page that you flip through, you see a new artist, you see a new approach that they have used, and you just see watercolor used in such a wonderful way. So it's a very small but mighty book, one that I absolutely love, and I have also done a flip through of that on my Ko-fi, and I'll leave that link down below in the description in case you are interested. Staying on the theme of learning is doing art courses. So if they love gouache, and I'm just throwing it out there because you know you got to back yourself, I have created a gouache landscapes course which I will leave linked, and through it I highlight how to paint 5 different landscapes. I talk through color theory, composition, how I break down references, I answer all the questions that were asked by everyone who attended the course and more, and I create a more than 30-page workbook that can be used to accompany the course, and I'll leave all of that linked down below in the description. It's a course that I am very proud of, that I had a wonderful time doing, but essentially giving a course can be a wonderful way to support the artist in your life, and more times than not they get lifetime access. They do to mine, which then means that it's something that they can come back to time and time again. If you're looking for other courses, then Domestika is a place where I go and do my courses as well, and I absolutely love them. I do also have a discount code which is Sketches.n.Scrubs 10 off, and I'll leave that in the description for you so that you can get 10% off on top of sale prices if you are going to buy any of the Domestika courses. My favorite one till date is the one by Alex Hilkirks, which is a wonderful course where he talks about using watercolor to create paintings of architecture, and he just has this really beautiful loose style and loose way of expressing light and expressing shadows and movements that I love. So I think it still has a dear place in my heart because I loved the results that I created from that course, but also the fact that I was then able to apply it to my art moving forward. So he's a wonderful artist and his course is absolutely amazing. So I'll leave both of them in the description. Now, if they love watercolor, but they also love gouache, then I have a few sets that I would recommend, assuming that you are buying a gift and you don't want to buy individual colors. And that would be the Holbein Iridori sets. These are not sets that I have myself. Unfortunately, they are on my wish list. But essentially they are curated sets that are based on the seasons. Holbein makes wonderful gouache and the sets themselves are just look absolutely beautiful. So these are again a novel set of gifts that you can gift to someone. The other thing that I would recommend that I've touched on already is the Stay Wet palette. Like, I can't tell you what a wonderful difference it made to my art just because I was painting more, because painting was easier, because the paints were right there and ready to go. So I highly recommend it. It's small but mighty. It's just a really great gift for yourself or for your loved ones. The next thing that I would recommend is dot cards. And if you were to go to Jackson's or to any of the sites that I've linked in the description and look for dot cards, you would find them. But they're essentially like little dots of watercolor that let you test out the different colors. They can be a wonderful way to get more familiar with a brand, to see colors, and to ultimately decide what colors you want to get more of or what colors you don't want to get more of. So they are a great gift, whether it be for yourself or for your loved ones, and it's a functional, fun gifts. There are some by Winsor & Newton, there are some by Daniel Smith, there are some by Schminke. There's just all these different ones, and more times than not, sometimes if you go into stores in person, they will also have small dot cards that they will give you for free. I do think that samples and dot cards can just make really wonderful gifts, and they tend to be on the less expensive side, but you still get to gift them the whole set and they can then decide what colors they actually like. Sometimes there will also be samples of papers. Yeah, consider samples. I love samples. If you are still watching, then you are a real MVP and I can't even express how much I appreciate you. Let me know that you are still watching by making suggestions of gift ideas down below in the comments. I always love reading your recommendations. If you've loved this video, then you will definitely love this set of next ones where I highlight my entire watercolor collection, as well as other ones where I highlight other art hauls where you find even more inspiration. Thank you so much for watching and I'll see you next week. Bye. What's the word? Taking YouTube by storm. Why do I keep looking? What is it?